I've been struggling lately, and that's the bad news. But the good news is that I've been here lots of times before and I know how to claw my way out. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm going to be walking you through my plan to realignment because I know that it works and I've implemented it many times before during other hard seasons of my life. So that's what I'm sharing today, my plan to realignment. As much as I pride myself on being able to thrive in my feminine energy despite all the masculine demands in my life, sometimes life just comes at you and it comes at you hard, and it doesn't matter all the good practices that you know. It doesn't matter that you know all of the things that you can implement when life is going your way to make sure that you feel aligned and in your feminine energy. Sometimes life just comes at you real hard and it doesn't care about all that and it throws things out of whack. That's life, right? And while it sucks, I've definitely been here before and I know how to get myself out of the funk and become realigned with myself and reactivate my feminine energy. And if you're curious about what got me here, I mean, it's nothing too crazy. And I think that's the whole point of it, right? Because this just is life. This is the reality of being a person, being a woman. This is just the reality of life. It was my daughter's birthday. That had a lot of plans associated with it. It's the last month of school. That has a lot going on with it. It's an abnormally stressful, busy season at work. That impacts my life greatly. We've been making summer plans with our family, which requires a lot of coordination and mental energy and masculine energy. Because for the record, at no point of your life ever will you get to a point where you don't have any masculine demands of your life, where you're never in your masculine energy. The whole goal of this channel and what I want to teach people is how to balance it. So this is going to happen forever, for the rest of my life, probably for the rest of your life, no matter how great we get at being able to prioritize activating our feminine energy. It's always gonna sometimes go more to the side of the spectrum where we're not so comfortable, where we're too much in our masculine energy. And the goal isn't to never get there. The goal is to have all the tools and know what we need to do to pull ourselves back into our feminine energy and to just push ourselves further towards the happy feminine energy side of the spectrum. And that's why I think this video will be so helpful, because how familiar is that? There's no crisis, it's just life. But sometimes just life can get really overwhelming and really throw us out of alignment and really make us feel completely, out of alignment with ourselves. And it's when we develop the skills that allow us to quickly and, without too much pain or without just getting further and further into the masculine energy hole, that's when our life actually changes, because life is always going to get crazy often. So it's about raising our baseline. That's when we can actually change our life. So let's talk about how to quickly and simply become realigned and reactivate our feminine energy when we go a little bit off the rails. Hi and welcome. I'm Amanda. I am a busy full-time working mom, and I help women thrive in their feminine energy despite all the masculine demands in their life. Below you'll find a link to sign up for my free weekly newsletter, where I share things like encouragement, tips on how to activate your feminine energy, and just really anything to make your life better, more enjoyable, more fun. Check it out. The first thing I want to talk about is the concept of raising your baseline, because my goal with everything that I teach isn't to get you to a place where you never fall out of alignment with yourself, where you are never in your masculine energy. That's not the goal. That's not realistic. That's not life. That's not why I'm here. It's about raising your normal baseline and getting to a place where it's easy for you to get back to that baseline. Because my passion and my goal isn't to help people who are already feeling really great get a little bit better. My goal is to help the people who are down here, where I was a few years ago, where you feel so deep in the hole that you maybe feel a little bit hopeless. And it breaks my heart a little bit every time I say that, but I force myself to because I know that there are people who feel that way, who feel so out of alignment with themselves that they feel like they're living a life that isn't even theirs, that they have no control over. Those are the people that I want to help. So my entire mission with this channel is to take people not from here to here, but from down here up to here, and to raise your baseline. Because when you can do that, when you can raise your baseline, when you can raise your normal, that's when your life changes. Your life doesn't change a whole lot when you go from a peaceful, happy, normal, everyday life to feeling incredible. Sure, there's a change there, but it's not nearly as impactful as when you can get out of this deep, dark hole into a place where your life feels peaceful and simple and easy. That's a much greater impact. By the way, I took some notes for this video because I always like to prepare, but I normally script out my videos a lot more than this because I ramble a lot. So I apologize for my rambling. This is a very authentic and raw video, and I'm authentically a rambler, so I apologize. Okay, the first thing that you need to do is prioritize your health. I don't like to spend too much time on these topics because I think a lot of us know that. We already know it. We just need the reminder. But number one, if you're not getting enough sleep, you absolutely must prioritize that no matter what. So that's not something I actually have a problem with. That's like the one thing that I check the box of almost every day. I militantly prioritize my sleep, so that's not on my plan to realignment, but it should be on everyone. So if you're not getting enough sleep and you know what like genuinely enough sleep means to you, make sure you get it. It changes everything. Now on my plan to realignment, I need to cut out sweets and reduce my carbs. And it's not like a physical outward thing. It's how I feel when I eat too much sugar and when I eat too many carbs. So I don't avoid carbs at all costs, and I don't even necessarily like actively reduce carbs in my regular life. But when I'm just feeling off and blah, like mentally, I know that cutting back on those things helps me feel a lot better and a lot fresher and a lot like just lighter like in my head. So it's important to me to do that. So that's part of my realignment plan. It may not be a part of yours. That's totally okay. However, I do think that sugar is a non-negotiable. Eating sugar doesn't really do anything positive for anyone. So think about cutting that out. My other two things as it pertains to health is make sure I'm getting enough water. That's a no-brainer. Our bodies need water. Our brains need water. Drink your water. Number two is I need to get back into my regular yoga practice because it makes me feel so good, mind, body, and soul. And a lot of the times when I feel like I don't have time to do yoga, I don't want to do yoga, I like think back, the days I do yoga, I feel good. The days I don't do yoga, I don't feel good, like mentally and physically. And I used to think that it was like, I'm having a bad day, I don't have time or the mental energy to do the yoga. But really, I think it's the other way around. I think it's regardless of what kind of day I'm having, if I do the yoga, I'm gonna have a pretty good day because it makes me feel so good. So I'm going to prioritize my yoga practice. Next part of the plan is improving your mental health. And I touched on mental health a little bit when I was talking about the physical health parts because it just shows like how intertwined it all is, right? But these are things like specifically for my mental health. And the first is I had already greatly reduced my social media consumption, like significantly. I don't get into spurts of doom scrolling anymore. I had already deleted it off of my phone, but I still had it on my iPad, and I would catch myself like spending more time on there than I would like because I would like to pretty much cut it out completely. But I guess I had to like kind of take a bit of a tiered approach because it sounds so dumb, but it feels scary to like completely cut that cord. Right? So anyways, I took it off my iPad. I can't access it. Well, I can access it on my desktop, but that's not like a trigger for me. So I just don't. I'll check in like once a week, but that's it. The next thing that's really important for me to do when I'm going through a time like this where I feel like just out of control of myself, I don't feel aligned with myself, is I will reduce dopamine and input and like information consumption significantly. So I'm not watching YouTube videos, I'm not listening to podcasts, I'm not even like taking my Kindle out while I let my dog outside, because I think it's so important when your brain feels like fuzzy and you're stressed and overwhelmed. It's already hard enough for your intuition to speak to you and to be able to hear it, let alone like actually listen to it and take action on it. So for me, when I'm going through a time like this, it's really important to cut out like anything external, like any external input. I will still like set time aside to read when, like, before I go to bed, something like that, but it's not going to be self-help, that's for sure. But I intentionally let myself get bored. And I don't always do this. Like sometimes when I'm cooking, it's nice to watch a YouTube video or something like that. But particularly when I'm going through moments like this where things feel crazy and I feel, like I said, out of alignment with myself, I need to allow my mind to be silent so that way I can hear what my intuition is trying to tell me. Because if I don't, then I don't hear, like, I'm not with myself. I'm just like getting stuff in from all kinds of places, all kinds of sounds, all kinds of voices that I stop hearing my own. So I need to intentionally create silence and boredom and like nothing going on in my brain in order to hear my intuition speak to me. And the thing that's really important about that is that it's usually these times when life feels crazy and you feel out of alignment with yourself that you need to listen and hear your intuition more than any other time. So it's really critical. Like the crazier you feel, not that you're crazy, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like the more overwhelmed and stressed out that you feel, the more you need that silence and the more that you need to like invite and give your intuition the proper mental environment for it to come in and speak to you, because that's when you need it the most. You need to spend more time outside. It makes me feel amazing when I'm outside. So I prioritize getting outside, rain or shine. It doesn't rain a whole lot where I live. It used to rain a lot where I lived before we moved here, and I miss it actually. I miss the rain, but I digress. But regardless of the weather, get outside, even if it's just for like 10 minutes a couple times throughout your day. Do it. And honestly, I'm gonna unofficially move yoga to this category because I feel like I spoke to it enough when I just mentioned it a couple minutes ago. But it really does belong more in this mental health category, because while yoga does make my body feel really good, the most that I get out of it is mental. The next key point to our plan to realignment is softness. And I think the most important part of this is to give yourself grace, especially when you're going through any sort of struggle, any sort of hard time like this. You also really need to tune into yourself. Like all the things that I just said about intuition, those apply here. You really need to tune into yourself, maybe spend more time alone than you normally would, and spend that time not as distracted. So not just alone watching Netflix while you're scrolling on your phone, like alone in a quiet bubble bath, or alone doing some like knitting, something like that, where you're just like alone with your thoughts. That's really, really important and undervalued, I think. You need to relax. And I know that's sometimes easier said than done, but I think when you're doing all this other stuff, you're cutting out all the noise, you're prioritizing your health, you're prioritizing soft exercise, it actually is easier to relax when you're doing all those other things. So take bubble baths, have early nights in, get even more sleep than usual. Take time to luxuriate in the process of cooking your favorite nutritious meal. Take time to luxuriate in eating it and not just scarfing it down when you have 5 minutes here or there. Rewatch your comfort TV shows or movies, or reread a favorite book. I think a lot of the times we have this running list of even things that are supposed to be fun, like TV shows to watch or books to read, when really we don't take the time to appreciate and re-enjoy the things that we already enjoy. There's something really beautiful about nostalgia and revisiting favorites. Another note on offload and outsource anything that you can. Make your life easy. And for me, that falls really in line with softness. Let things be easy. Pass off anything that you can to someone else, or outsource it, or pay for a service. Anything that you can do to like more or less like absolve yourself of responsibility should be done. And if you have kids like I do, when I'm going through these hard times, one of the absolute most impactful things that I can do is just be softer with my kids, be a little less diligent about the rules, have more fun, have more play. This might sound silly, but when I'm feeling like this, I make slow cooker meals, not just so that way I can like not spend so much time making dinner, because I actually really enjoy cooking, but when things feel crazy, I really like to tune into my people. I'm sure we all do. And so I only have so much time after work with my kids. And so I like doing a slow cooker meal so that way I can, without the pressures of I have to get dinner on the table in 30 minutes, I have to cook in half an hour. Without that pressure, I can just play with them and be easy with them and have fun. And like nothing makes me feel better than having a really easy time with my kids, because I'll be the first to admit that a lot of the time it's easy to be go, 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 no matter how hard I try to not be like that. When it is go, 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 it's like these seasons of craziness. And so when I'm trying really hard to intentionally pull myself out of that craziness, one of the first things I look to is how can I make things with my kids easier and more enjoyable and more pleasurable. And for me, that looks like doing a slow cooker meal so I don't have to actively cook in the evening, and spending that half an hour that I would be cooking reading stories or playing board games. My kids are little, so that's difficult. Even Chutes and Ladders we were playing yesterday, and that was a little challenging with a 2 and now 4-year-old. The last big category that I have here is relationships, because your relationships with other people have such a huge impact on your life, and they have a big impact both ways. They have a big impact as far as their absence, and they have a big impact as far as how much time you're spending with those people. So first is to spend real quality time with your partner, because obviously, ideally, they are your safe place. Your partner is the person that you feel most yourself with. And when you're focused on realignment, if you're with the right partner, spending time with them should definitely help you do that. Spending time with your partner should be when you feel most at home and most like your true authentic self. Time with them should recharge you, but the time with them should be really intentional. Not just doom scrolling while you both watch The Office for the 17th time. Instead, talk, pour a couple glasses of wine, just talk. You don't even have to do anything, just talk to each other, or you can play a board game together. That's one of my husband and I's favorite thing to do, to drink a couple glasses of wine and play a board game and talk and catch up and just have so much fun together. Also important, spend time with girlfriends. We can sometimes underestimate the power of female friendships, and when you're trying to get realigned and reactivate your feminine energy, this is a very important piece. And it's a bonus if you do something that specifically activates your feminine energy. Go for a walk outside, go for lunch at a restaurant that you absolutely love. Open up and have vulnerable conversations, build trust. Female friendships are so important and really play a big part in igniting our feminine energy, because spending time with women that you trust and feel connected to is really nourishing to the feminine energy. So remember that being perfectly aligned and in your feminine energy 100% of the time isn't the goal, because that's not realistic. Instead, when you take the things that I teach on this channel and implement them in your life, what you're doing is you're increasing your overall baseline for alignment and your feminine energy. And when you increase your baseline, when you dip below a little bit, first of all, you're not falling all the way back into the bottom. You're just falling a little bit, and it's a lot easier to get back to that baseline where you feel amazing on a regular daily basis. And I want to say this too, if you're feeling like you're struggling all the time and you feel like you're in a place that you can't even ever dig yourself out of, please know that that's not the case. I promise that you can. And the goal isn't that you go from despair to on top of the world. It's that you go from despair to peace. That's my, like, if I could articulate it, that is my goal for everyone, is that everyone who feels overwhelmed and stressed out and like they're too much in their masculine energy energy all the time, that they go from that to just feeling at peace and just feeling aligned with themselves. Anything above that is a bonus. But my goal is just to get people to here, because here is a beautiful, happy place to be. And to be very honest, when you're at this up high baseline where you feel so at peace and aligned with yourself, there's not really much of a desire for more because there's so much contentment here. This is like my ultimate happy place. And honestly, I don't make videos for people to get from here to here. I make videos specifically to help people get from down here to here. That's what I'm all about, bringing us up here. I just want to help women get to a place where they feel at peace in their life and they feel like they're living a life that's authentic to themselves. One where they feel free and joyful on a daily basis. Of course, not every single day. There are always going to be setbacks. But when you look at your life, this is what you see. Because I'm going to say it one more time, getting from down here to here is the most critical work that you can do in your life. And anything above here is just bonus. So let's raise that baseline and make it one that's not only easy to maintain, but easy to get back to when you fall below a little bit, like I have the past couple weeks. This is all stuff that I talk about in my weekly newsletter, so don't forget to sign up for free down below. There's a link there. And next, I recommend this video. It's about the 5 no BS things that I did to actually change my life. And it's probably my favorite video because it's literally highlights the 5 most impactful things I ever did to change my life. And if you could share your experiences down below about any time that you've gotten yourself back to alignment after some minor setbacks or major setbacks, because that's the reality of life sometimes too. I look forward to talking to you next time. Thank you so much for being here. Stay aligned.